read the main agenda, what he was trying to cover. The session of e-highway is focused on hybrid e-mobility, AHEM, in Telangana to connect neighboring landlocked state with e-highways. Based on the licensing reform of the government and 5 connecting highways, including Hyderabad ORR Expressway, are already on the list out of 12 national highways marked by the Ministry of Power to be converted from regular highways to e-highways. Jaipur, Delhi, Agra are being prototyped on annuity hybrid e-mobility AHEM model to fund EV charging infra on highways with the new financing model. This session on NHEV pilot is aimed to bring ease of doing business in e-mobility by making licensing, designing, commissioning, installation, electrification, certification, and financing the charging station and green energy stations ease for making public-private partnership PPP models are various corporate, institutional, urban, rural, and community level. First prototype station of NHEV is commissioned in Gurgaon with 100 EV car chargers as India's largest charging stations with 74 AC and 24 DC charger. This message I read on behalf of Mr. Abhijit Sinha. He is National Program Director, Ease of Doing Business, Project Director, National Highway for EV Pilot, Jaipur, Delhi, Agra, President, Charge Point Operator Society of India. So I really appreciate, even he is not there, he set all the agenda, context, and if you don't have any hint about NHEV program, his department is trying to build India first a theft-proof national e-highway where any national highway, if any electric vehicles are running, this is highly secured, it will be protected, it will be if there will be any theft, police command control room will be well integrated. So tomorrow, commuter feel free and they believe in greener mobility. That was his message. Now I am going to now discuss with my panelist. So I really appreciate Mr. Abhijit Sinha for setting all the tone. Thank you.
A good point at this point of time, because the theme of today's discussion is the EVs, whatever we are going to use, are really going to be economical if it is not powered through the renewable energies, especially on the highways. Yes, the EVs has to be powered with the renewable energy sources, one or the other day. There is no other option. But how and how fast that we can able to do it is the main challenge. One is maintaining the grid loads, stability in the grid, and availability of the options like open access or the net metering will make this requirement to make it happen in a realistic way. Today, what is the main issue we will be having is the round-the-clock power of renewable energies we are talking. So what is that we are doing? We are integrating the different source of renewable energy and we are trying to power up. So all these days we were hearing only about the solar or wind, intermittent source of energies. But now we are trying to establish the round-the-clock source of renewable energy, supporting through, augmenting through solar or wind or pumped storage. Once that happens in a realistic way, then all the EVs which are going to be in operations will have the option to go for renewable energy. Today, the only option that is there for any charging station to go with on renewable energy is to have a solar rooftop or to have a open access. But is open access really a feasible solution? In case of EVs, it is not at this point of time. There are certain challenges which needs to be figured out and then we will be able to go further. But solar rooftops, yes. So if you are having a luxury of the roof space beneath which you are having a charging station, then to certain extent you can able to utilize the renewable energy. But in a true sense, if you want to have the total connected load equivalent solar capacity, at this point of time it may not be that feasible or possible because of the regulations. But my state, we are continuously working with all various think tanks and taking the frequent feedbacks from the Niti Aayog and all these things, we are coming up with a policy, and we are making the amendments to the existing policies wherein the adaptability of electric vehicle in the true sense, augmenting with renewable energy, is what we are trying to do. Right now we are focusing on how to make the EVs electrified. I believe last time Mr. Shashank ji, Mr. Abhijit has asked a question that is Telangana geared up for electric vehicles on highways? At that point of time we were not. So I have committed, in fact we have committed on this platform that by next this thing we will be, and now my department we have found out all the locations and we are going to start this commissioning process maybe by this weekend or that is the next weekend or something like that, and all the national highways that is passing through from the state of Telangana, whether it is Bangalore, Nagpur or Vijayawada or Bombay, you will have the options to charge this, and we have already displayed the locations where the EV charging stations are going to be. We have completed the tendering part of the chargers and we have empaneled the different charge point operators. So we have totally about 20 charge point operators who will be fulfilling this requirement. Apart from this, as TSREDCO also being an implementing agency, we are setting up of these charging stations focusing majorly in Hyderabad and rest of the tier 2 cities. So this is going to be the first phase. Now second phase of us, our vision, our dream is to ensure that the renewable energy is going to power this particular charging stations. For example, majority of the people today who are using electric cars, their mindset was not inculcated or inclined towards going for solar rooftops when they were not having electric vehicles, because they have their own reasons. But now what is happening, majority of the people who have purchased these electric cars have gone for solar energy. So what will happen, when the economic sense attains, even the grid parity is also attained, then automatically people will start looking at an options that are available within the framework of the government. So we are having around 260 megawatts of solar rooftop capacities installed in the domestic segment, in the commercial and industrial segment, and in the institutional segments. So out of which now my department is working on to segregate the demand that is going towards the electric mobility from the source of renewable energy. So once that is set as an example, automatically people will be looking at this as an option, because the cost of power, if you are using the conventional source of energy and you are going on a public charging station, per kilometer cost will be somewhere around 2 to 3 rupees with electric car. Whereas if you have your own solar rooftop, the cost per se may come down to 85 paisa or even less than that per kilometer commuting cost. So this is the economics, and this entire industry is driven with the economic model. But there should be a proper policy framework that should be enabled, and we are in the process of making it a real sense that the policy is not a hindrance for any kind of adoption, even for the EV side or even for the renewable energy side.
So we really appreciate, and Mr. Ramakrishna ji, you have given a whole download of the government initiatives, and what we appreciate, the whole central body and state body all are working seamlessly integrated on the EV vision. That's really recommendable, and everywhere we see that government is organizing and helping, framing all the that legal side, the government guidelines, so where any investor can come, they can put all the initiatives. And since you are about to leave, so let me have a few query with you now, so we can cover at least your view. Statistics indicate that transportation is responsible for 14% of global greenhouse gas emission. And everywhere transition is happening. We talk the digital transformation, a lot of happening. The trend is saying that transition is happening every area. Transition is happening from conventional house to smart house, from conventional vehicle, petrol vehicle to electric vehicle. All such lead, and this is accelerating the conversion in the direction of low and zero emission, where we will achieve sustainable mobility. So what do you think that how far, we will have the biggest impact or contribution by the renewable energy, because now is the time that everyone is talking. We need the government guidance for a better contributions. So maybe you can throw some more light on green mobility.
Yes, Mr. Shashank, the thing is, in the early decades, electric mobility failed over ICE. So ICE took over, electric did not took over. That is the reason why we are seeing all these petrol and diesel vehicles. Because those days, coal, petrol was the cheapest sources. Even the power also, they did not want it to go for it, because it is a economic sense there now. But now what is happening? Slowly the shift is happening from the IC segment, that is fuel based, to the electric based, because the market, the economics is determined like that. Now slowly what will happen? You have seen the last 2 months, the coal prices have really gone up. The power cost is really going up, and we are even seeing there is a power shortages. So a day will come again where the electric mobility may have to lose its battle against to some other source of technology. So for ensuring that not to happen, the only answer is, if we are powering the charging stations through renewable sources, which is going to be cheapest sources. There is a mission, National Clean Air Program, under which the top cities that are responsible in the India for this major contribution of the transportation side or the other side of the pollution, we are having a proper framework today we are working in which the electric vehicle charging stations are playing a key role. We wanted to set up as many as number of charging stations initially, so that the adoption and the range anxiety can be controlled and people will start looking electric mobility as an option. Then slowly what we will do is we will focus on the shifting from the conventional power source to the renewable base. So people then again will think on economics front, and the cost of 3 rupees or 2 rupees from what with the conventional source today we are spending per kilometer will come down to 80 paisa, 70 paisa because of the renewable energy segment. So that's where the renewable energy will definitely make a key role, and in the coming years we will see more and more flexibility in the policies wherein the charging stations can tap the sources of renewable energy and can do it. So this is what my perception, and we will be going to see this in a major way.
Very insightful note, sir. Truly recommendable, and thanks for knowing us all the good initiatives.
We've also got Mr. Pramodji. If you can,
Sir will leave.
Sir, and we've got a chair.
Sir,
11:50 we got the time. To 11:15.
So now I would like to invite Mr. Pramod Chabria from RAP Eco Motor. We had invited him, and please join us.
Hi, good morning. Saturday morning, I see that the hall is getting filled up, so I'm happy to be here. My name is Venkat Rajaraman, founder CEO of Cygni Energy. We are an energy storage company, and we have powered about 150 megawatt hour of energy storage and about 50,000 electric vehicles so far. We are also setting up our gigafactory in Telangana, for which we had this announcement about a month back. So this topic is very relevant, right? Because we are talking about renewable energy and EV and e-mobility. I'll give you my maybe for a few minutes, but it will be good to take up more questions during the Q&A session, so that we sort of cover if there are anything specific. So if you were to look at the EV adoption from the first principles, right? So I think Mr. Ramakrishna talked about it well. So EV adoption is here for sure, right? I don't think that needs any justification anymore, right? What we used to do a couple of years back. And and the reason are manifold. One, of course, India is infamously, this thing for the, the top 5, most polluted cities are, here in India. And EV is going to be a key thing for us to make sure that, we sort of reduce this GHG emissions. Number 2, it is also going to be very critical from an energy security perspective, right? So we are, very heavily dependent on crude oil import, and clearly this is the transition that we got to make for this, to be, from an energy security viewpoint. And number 3, today, the EVs are conclusively proven that they are better from a total cost of ownership perspective as well. That's why I think, Mr. Ramakrishna talked about that things have to make commercial sense, and clearly today EV makes a commercial sense because you are, paying less than, rupee per kilometer, and that's clearly something, that's there. So these are all the main drivers for EV adoption. Now let's take a look at what does the numbers say, right? So today, if you ask the numbers, it varies quite widely because this is in the early stage of adoption. But Niti Ayog's estimate is talking about an 80% adoption for two-wheelers and three-wheelers by 2030. And it's talking about 70% adoption for commercial four-wheelers and about 40% adoption for buses as well. These are all large numbers. So even if you were to take a look at a conservative number, let's say a 30% adoption, right, as against a 80% adoption, still that's going to result in a 16% reduction in our, import crude oil savings. And it's also going to result in an 18% clean air, right, both from, from a particulate matter as well as from an, NOx perspective. So this number, is anybody's game. Now, where does renewable energy fit in, right? So today, renewable energy, we know it's a, intermittent source of power, right, predominantly solar. So renewable energy, solar plus storage will have to go hand in hand for us really to make this huge impact for from that perspective. And India is talking about 450 gigawatt hour of renewable energy, and the storage will have to go hand in hand, right? So and clearly today, when we are talking about this, the charging stations, electric vehicles, battery is a very large perspective. I represent the storage industry, so I maybe speak about it a little bit more. If you were to sort of convert this number into a gigawatt hour for storage, we are talking about a large number. At a very conservative number, India is talking about 80 gigawatt hour of energy storage, which we need in the next 5 years, right? So this is going to be predominantly driven by EVs. About 60 to 65 gigawatt hour is going to be from EVs, and the rest is going to be from rooftop solar, from telecom, from diesel offset and other applications, right? So this is, and the optimistic scenario is going to be double of that, which is almost about 160 gigawatt hour. And India has a plan of 50 gigawatt hour of lithium battery manufacturing, right, through the advanced cell chemistry ACC-PLI scheme, where there are manufacturers who have come on board. So this is clearly a direction that we are going to happen, where storage is going to play a very key role. But now, I think we were talking about there is a transformation happening, right? There is a transformation happening on the e-mobility as well, right? There is a very popular acronym called CASE, which some of us are familiar. So the vehicles of tomorrow are going to be connected, right? Whether it is, the charging stations, the charge point operators, the battery as a service providers, the EV OEMs, now they are all in a very connected ecosystem. So it's going to be a very connected, and, it's to a great extent it is also going to be autonomous, not fully autonomous, but to an extent where, vehicles are all powered with, advanced, algorithms and so on. And it is going to be shared mobility, right? So, gone are the days where we are going to own the vehicles on our own, because 80% of the time, the vehicles are, unutilized. So it is going to be more of shared mobility, more of public transportation, which is where, the charging stations on the highways will make sense. And the last but not the least, it is going to be an electric mobility, right? So, this case of, is the paradigm shift that is happening. So as the transformation happening everywhere, there is a definite transformation happening on the mobility space. So broadly, these are my thoughts in terms of storage, electric vehicle, and renewable energy. Happy to take any questions at a later point of time. Thanks.
We really thank you for walking us through with all the journey and a little bit about renewable energy. Now please allow me to move to Mr. Shanmugam V. He's from Touch Energy, and sir, please let us know about your organizations and throw some light on renewable energy.
Very good morning, all of you, and myself, Shanmugam, the founder, CEO of Touch Energy Technologies. I have been traveling in renewable energy industry for 15 plus years, particularly in solar charging. So that was my background, and recently for the past 3 years, I've been traveling with solar plus energy storage. We have been making batteries for two-wheeler, three-wheelers, and other off-road vehicles. That's the main focus of our business. And particularly for today's topic, there are segmentation wise we have to look into this topic what we have been discussing today. We have been talking mostly on the highways, but I would say that we have to segmentize two-wheeler, three-wheeler and four-wheeler, because the shift is going to happen in a phased manner. So the first shift, as Rajaraman sir said, the first shift is going to be for the two-wheeler, and the second shift I would say that it is going to be a three-wheeler segment. Then car, of course, is going to come, because most of the Western countries are already on a rapid mode of migrating to EVs. But India will join little later, that's what I feel. But the two-wheeler and three-wheeler segment is going to be the first phase of shift in India. And for this segment, converting this segment charging station into solar, I would say technically is very easy and economical, because the two-wheeler batteries are going to be in a smaller size and capacities. Also for three-wheeler batteries, hardly it's not more than 10 kilowatt hour. So these capacity batteries can be swapped easily and also can be charged by solar with a very low investments, and particularly in any highway motels or highway restaurants. And these kind of areas can be implemented with energy storage, as again Rajaraman sir said. So energy storage plus solar charging is definitely going to be a very economical solution for two-wheeler and three-wheeler. And whereas when it comes to four-wheeler, solar charging is going to take little more time because of the space and other constraint. So we can talk much more on a technical side later in this discussion.
Before I move to Mr. Pramod, allow me to introduce my organization as well as little bit. So I represent company name UNL. The full form of the UNL is Universally Named Locations. Our headquarters is Singapore based. Our technical team sits in Amsterdam, and we have recently opened our India operations. And it's a smart micro location and map technology company. And we provide every businesses to that how they can empower their businesses using location map technology. And we realize that current map technology is not good for digital economy. It's good, but it's not serving their prime need, because every business realize that data is very important, and they don't want to share data with others. And if they share any data, then it goes to public and they lose their business secrecy. So we say, why not we serve every business by giving virtual private map, where they can easily upload their, all the map data, they can run their analytics, they can visualize their, presence, everything, they can do the gap analysis. And using this, we have also, we have made every locations verifiable, searchable, routable, and we say this as a UNL Geo ID. And this helps. And what we want to contribute in electric EV infrastructure, that recently FAME 2 guideline is there, where Government of India says that there has to be 3 by 3 kilometer charging station informations for every city. For our national highway, it has to be 25 into 25 kilometer. So we as a map data technology provider, we want to see that we will aggregate entire stakeholder, where there's a renewable energy, a charging infrastructure, government projects where the uses are happening, from where, especially in the NHEB program, when we heard that there is a requirement of trial, we said that from where users are coming to onboard the vehicles, we need to map it. We need to map the charging station locations, and we need to create the route customized for the national highway electric where the charging stations are placed. So tomorrow if the range anxiety will happen, in that scenario driver will know that how soon he will get charged, how much time it will take. And another part is that when the charging station, if any driver goes, it takes 1 hour, 2 hours. So accordingly he has to search that how much time if he is spending, is there any washroom or convenience, etc. A lot of, that if they have some riders, what they will do half an hour. So from lot of things we have to combine it. As in a future renewable energy will happen, we need to map the grid, how much loads are coming from grid. Lots of mapping will happen on over the infrastructure. So we provide that tool. And that's the background of our contribution in the renewable energy and electric charging infrastructure. Now I move to Mr. Pramod. He represents RAP Eco Motor. Over to you, sir.
Very good morning, my dear friends. My name is Pramod Chabria. I represent a company called RAP Eco Motors, where we are the manufacturers of EVs, two-wheelers and three-wheelers. I am not a technical person, so my talk might be more basic. I have been in the automobile line for a very long time. I remember a saying, हर चीज का वक्त आता है, वक्त को थोड़ा सा वक्त देना चाहिए. I remember seeing my first EV two-wheeler. It was an ad in Deccan Chronicle, the local newspaper of Hyderabad, somewhere in 78, 79. Now, that was something like what TVS used to make, the moped. Like Luna and TVS were in competition. The first EV that I have seen was somewhere in 78. Believe me, I was a kid. And I was really happy to see that. But then it disappeared. Maybe the product was ahead of its times. For everything there is time. As I said, हर चीज का वक्त आता है, वक्त को थोड़ा सा वक्त देना चाहिए. I remember 1992-93, some company from Ahmedabad, 𝗏, if I am not mistaken, had launched two-wheelers. I think in 92-93, they have launched two-wheelers, excellent machine, everything very good. But what was missing was the battery. The life of the battery was not very high, the size of the battery was an issue. And maybe we were not prepared for it. I remember one company launching washing machine, dishwashers and microwave ovens somewhere in 80s. There was a company, 𝗥𝗏𝗏 Corporation, if I am not mistaken, if my memory serves me right. And it was a complete washout. Nobody was buying in, they were taking microwave oven, nuclear power nikalta hai, all sort of bullshits were being told. Today, I don't think there is any household without a microwave oven or a dishwasher. The bottom line of what all I am trying to say is that now is the time for EVs. And EVs undoubtedly are the future. The market for EV two-wheelers is growing very fast. Thanks to our government and the Ukraine war or whatever it is for the petrol price going up, which is a blessing in disguise. We are basically more concentrated towards three-wheelers. And all these gentlemen have given a lot of technical data, which is even useful for me. I said gyan for me. Charging stations, swapping stations are the future. EVs on the highways, I think there's a subject, is the need of the hour. Let's accept the fact the cheapest form of energy on today's date is batteries, EV. we save so much, we will save so much money on the foreign outflow, taxation, environment, pollution, and most important, let's accept the fact the bottom line for every one of us is it will be very easy on our pockets. Now, EVs on the highway, the policies are coming, 25 kilometers, charging stations, swapping stations. I am a plain, simple commercial person. For me, the bottom line of the company is very important. And this is what is going to increase the bottom line of every person, let it be a household, industry or everybody. EV is the future. We manufacture three-wheelers where we have dealers all over India. I wouldn't mind talking giving a little information on that also. We are at the moment we are manufacturing three. Now we have launched two-wheelers also, and EV is the future. On the highways, it is a must. How and all things are going to go about is to be seen. In fact, I had attended a conference earlier in Chennai. There was a discussion on what should be the government support for charging infrastructure. Our biggest problem on today's date for charging stations or swapping stations is the lack of infrastructure. Now, infrastructure, government support is required for the highways. For the city, if we talk about, I had a few questions. I was not on the panel, I was not on the dais. I was among the audience, so I had a few questions for them. The questions I asked were plenty, but I'll just pull them down to only a very few. First question I asked was, which country has got the maximum EVs? So after a lot of discussion, it was confirmed that China has got the maximum number of EVs on today's date in the world. This discussion had happened about 3 years back. EVs in India were just picking up at a good pace, but they were not what they are today. So my second question was, what is the ratio? China versus India. So after a lot of discussion and a pessimistic view was taken that it will be 1:25. That is 1 in India, 25 in China. Pessimistic view, it will be more. The third question was, what are the ground conditions between, vis-a-vis China and India? My friends who all have visited China will agree there is not very big difference.
I have to ask one question to sir, because
Yes, sir.
he has to leave in 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, I'll just finish in 30 seconds next. I close this story, I close it. I will not pull it further. So my question was, are the ground realities ground conditions between India and China same? It was agreed. So my last question was, what is the government support for infrastructure for charging in China? Nothing very great. So EVs are growing at its own pace. Need is coming from the ground, from the public. That is why EV is growing. Government support is always welcome. Let's accept the fact without government support we cannot proceed further. But the demand is coming from the down, as it has become the need of the hour for all the reasons I have given earlier. Thank you, I have taken enough time. Maybe I overshot my time. Thank you.
We'll come back, please.
Any questions, all are welcome.
Yes. Sir, all we give more weightage on a cost in electric vehicle.
Yes.
Everyone say TCO, cost of ownership, etc. And renewable energy mindset also come ki maybe it's a cost advantage.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I will ask sir. And but when I saw the statistics, EV vehicle has lowered total emission. That's where we prefer over a standard IC vehicle. But when this is used, when it is charged with electricity produced from renewable sources like green power, this also help reducing lots of carbon footprints. So there is a technical mileage also. One is we want to go for sustainable, greener mobility. Sometimes we think the cost, but there is a bigger advantage of this. So we want your light over this.
Sir, this electric mobility, there are experts who also claim that whether the electric mobility is really eco-friendly, non-polluting, What is that we are doing on a current day? We are consolidating the urban power pollution to a rural segment, because we are drawing the power from the thermal sources. So the thermal plants are set up in a rural sites. So we are consolidating it. So to make this electric mobility a real eco-friendly with a good carbon footprint support and everything, the only solution is renewable energy, and that will be definitely done. But the 2 points, like as sir was asking, why China has more number, or China is having more. The main reason is 85% of the lithium resource are being held by China at this point of time. So China has taken it as a business model, and they wanted to prove with this concept within their country first, then would like to make the business with the other countries. So I'm sure today whoever is manufacturing the EV segment, we are depending majorly on China for the raw material, for the sake of the lithium or the other imports. So that's why recently the batteries which has blasted also, the main reason was like the improper selections of the battery, the specs of the battery, what China is producing it, we have picked up the wrong one. So now we are giving the standards through the BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards, that what battery and how this should be and all. This is one reason why India is slowly doing, because now this is a transition phase. Now India, we are talking of electric mobility, and also we are talking of hydrogen. Which one we need to bet on for the future generations to come on? Should we go for EV or should we go for the other? And obviously we will win the battle with EV only, because renewable energy we are targeting in a very big way, about 450 gigawatts by 2030, 500 gigawatts. So keeping electric mobility in the mindset, we are betting that much of generation by 2030. So obviously the cost of it will be reduced, and the alternatives for the batteries also under process of the technological evolutions will do happen, and probably, who knows, tomorrow we will also see a grid synchronized electric mobility, especially in the mass transportation system. We may see that happening, because I remember about 2 to 3 months back, there was a statement from the central government that they want to make electrified highways, wherein we need not have a battery, we can connect, like it is something like a train where you can connect it to the on-grid system. So these are the developments which are going to come in the future, these things. Second one is economics. There are two economics in this electric mobility. One is running cost. Second one is the capital expenditure. So the capital portion has to come down. So I request the manufacturers also to see how this capital cost can be brought down. If it is a large scale of manufacturing, obviously the cost is going to come down. That's why we are depending on China today. And the second one is operational cost. The solution for operational cost is going with a renewable source of energy. I told, if you use a conventional source of energy, it will cost you about 2 to 3 rupees per kilometer. Whereas with renewable energy, it will be lesser than 80 paisa. So operational expenses, we have the control. But the capital cost, which has to be brought down, has to be seriously worked on. And China government supports on the capital side, not on the operational side. Even in India also, we have adopted a lot of policies. By seeing it different countries, we have brought in the policies where we also started giving the capital subsidy. FAME 2, we wanted to bridge that, bring that gap down, narrow down, by giving the subsidies for the user. The early mover user will have always the disadvantage of high cost. So to ensure that he does not feel that pinch, we are giving him the subsidy. Let's say on a two-wheeler per kilowatt we are giving 15,000, and for four-wheeler we are giving for the 10,000 rupees. Is the prime focus of that. As such, Telangana government, we are also giving subsidies for the demand side and supply side incentives. So in the coming days we will see this a major success in India, and truly with the renewable sense. That time what will happen, we need not even bother about the consolidation of the urban pollution even in the rural side, because we will be using the renewable source of power for charging these charging stations.
EV energy initially there was lot of resistance happening all over. Like I said, few things are certain times ahead of its time. But right now the time has come. जब आप दिल कोई चीज को पूरी तरह से चाहता है, तो पूरी कायनात उसको help करती है. तो on today's date, I feel the demand from the public is making even the government wake up to the need of EVs, and at this moment I say everybody is contributing to the EV industry on all directions, from all directions, government. Earlier there were quite a few challenges, and by the day the challenges are coming down. FAME 2 policy at the moment is in slight doldrums because of some wrong things happening, I would say. But things are coming back and the government is being very supportive. Challenges in EV will remain. I mean, they will never go away. The day everything is perfect, the day you stop growing. Only challenges ensure that you keep doing extra things to grow. So things are, I mean, today the situation is perfect for EVs. Challenges will be there and we have to overcome it. I mean, challenge for everybody is different. For the battery manufacturers, a different challenge. For the users, a different challenge. For the EV manufacturers, a different challenge. So that's a very huge subject of challenges. But as I said, everybody, things are all going in the right direction on today's date, and we are all, I mean, things are becoming easier by the day.
Perfect. Thank you. Mr. Shanmugam, please, you let us know that we normally think we talk renewable energy, everything's everything. We realize that electric vehicle maker, now they become very cooperative, they understand. But do you think renewable energy companies are a little bit open to cooperate, throw some light over it? Because I feel they will have some apprehension.
It's particularly solar plus energy storage. That's going to be the future energy. It is the only option we have to replace the fossil fuel in future. So there is an easy opportunity for us. Most of the EV, particularly in two-wheeler and three-wheeler, working on a low voltage DCs. For example, if you take two-wheelers, the maximum DC voltage things are also, maximum 60 to 70, which is very easy to charge via solar, because solar generally comes as a DC. So we can definitely tap this energy in a very easy way. There are technology already available, very much proven technology. For example, if you have a 48 volt batteries, so any solar panel manufacturer can give a single panel with, now we have reached I think 700 watt plus as a single panel that can generate almost 3 units of energy, close to 3 units of energy a day. So that can charge one complete two-wheeler battery. So definitely renewable energy is the right option for electric vehicle charging.
Sir, now I want to come back to you. And a few minutes back we had a very good point that capital cost of battery. Or everyone think because in electric battery plays a very crucial role in a costing. And everyone, we hope that cost will go down, then affordability will come, more people will use it. So please throw some light on what kind of challenge you are facing and how you see that cost will come down.
Got it, yeah. So, many of us in the semiconductor industry are aware of what is called as Moore's law, right? Which talks about, the number of transistors in a semiconductor. It doubles every 18 months and so on, which has been proven for the last, 20-25 years. I don't know how many of you are aware, something similar happens called Wright's law, W-R-I-G-H-T. Wright's law in the case of lithium-ion battery. Where not only for lithium-ion battery, on a similar set of things, where it says that for every doubling in production capacity, the cost of lithium-ion battery comes down by a certain percentage. In this particular case, it's about 18%. And this has been proven true for the last 12 years, right? From 2010 onwards, there are data available, for us to take a look at. So clearly, lithium ion, what used to be at about $1,000 per kilowatt hour, I think we talked about, 1975's why, electrotherm could not do, clearly, the cost curve has been on the decline. Today we are still, last few months have been volatile, leave alone that, but other than that, there has been a general decline in the cost curve, right? So clearly, I think the expectation is that it is going to go sub $100 per kilowatt hour, not far away in the next, 3 to 5 years. Having said that, it is also important for us to realize, I think the point Mr. Ramakrishna was making, are we, in the name of renewable energy and electric, are we shifting the problem from an import of oil to import of lithium batteries, right? So I think that's something, a very important discussion. I know that it may not have full time, but only 2 points I want to make. One, it's a very well known fact that India does not have all the mines, I think most of the mines, in Australia, Latin America, Congo, all of them have been taken over by, several other countries. So we are sort of late to the party in some which way. But what we can do fantastically is that of battery recycling, right? So today, if you look at, it's very well proven, both from a technology viewpoint that you can recycle 90% of the battery material, whether it is cobalt or lithium or manganese or graphite or any one of this. And these are all can be done with the zero effluent plants, right? There are plants world over. There are several, Indian companies which are working on that. And of course, India is home to billion mobile phones, and then few tens of millions of electronic gadgets, laptops, in addition to the electric vehicles. If we handle this, India could be the urban mining capital of the world, right? Where we could have, through the recycling, could do about 80 gigawatt hour of our storage. We don't have to look outside. We don't have to sort of go to a virgin mines, but we can actually recycle. I think we'll have to do renewable energy, recycling, and handle this problem in a smart way, actually.
So we are running out of time, and we really appreciate for all of your cooperation. Now we open the floor for questions, and maybe some mic. Amitji, we need help to give the mic.
Good morning. My question is a general question on the EV resale market. For really EVs to take off, if we can have some kind of a, just like for convention vehicles, EV resale market also, that will help. And we need to understand the, the depreciation value of all these electronics and everything. So is, manufacturers, the government, is it looking in that area of creating a resale market for electric vehicles so that even financing will be much easier for anybody to finance for these EV vehicles? Anybody can take this question.
I think Mr. Pramod is the right person because he comes from automobile. He is selling the vehicle. So,
Good morning, Mr. Surya. Program or agenda or SOPs for the resale of machines. In EVs, you will have to understand when you are buying a machine, you are paying upfront also for the 5 years fuel. That's a very important point you have to remember. So when the resale is happening, once the people who are going to come into the picture, there will be a time when there will be a lot of people who will doing resale of EVs who can understand the life of the battery left and fix the cost accordingly. Now basically I will talk about two-wheelers and three-wheelers. I mean four-wheelers are still some time away. That's my feeling. Two-wheelers is very easy. For three-wheelers, yes, battery is about 40% of the cost of the machine. So when you talk about resale value, you have to calculate the machine separate, battery separate, and it will slowly evolve. It will happen in just a matter of time. As I said, हर चीज का वक्त आता है, वक्त को थोड़ा सा वक्त देना चाहिए.
Thank you.
Any other question? Convey our all together thanks to RenewX exhibition team who has organized. We really appreciate from the bottom of our heart to organize it and create the environment to discuss renewable energy. And yeah, so with these comments, we would like to wrap up this session.